All right, folks, I think we're going to kick this off. Welcome to Smart Contracts, Smarter Agents. Thank you all for joining us. I'm Josh Nickerson. I'm a group product manager with Coinbase Developer Platform. I focus on our backend SDK, our wallets, and our staking API. I'll let Lincoln introduce himself.
Yeah, hey everyone. My name is Lincoln. I'm the product manager for Coinbase Developer Platform's AgentKit. So we're giving every AI agent access to a crypto wallet and a comprehensive set of on-chain interactions. More about that a little bit later.
Awesome. So just by a quick show of hands, who all is building something that involves on-chain agents right now as part of this build-a-thon? Got a few folks? Right on. Cool. And who all is new to building on-chain? A lot of folks. Awesome. Well, cool. You're all in the right place. I think there's three main takeaways we want you to get out of this session. The first is just a high-level overview of Coinbase Developer Platform and the products that we have for you to use to build on-chain. The second is an overview of AgentKit and what you can do with it to build agents that have on-chain superpowers. And then third, and I think most importantly, we want to inspire you with kind of our insights on what we see people building in the intersection of AI and crypto. So I'm going to chat for a few minutes about Coinbase Developer Platform and just give that high-level overview of everything that it's got to offer. And then I'll turn it over to Lincoln to talk through AgentKit, which is built on top of Coinbase Developer Platform, and also those insights of what we're seeing in the space. So what is CDP? So Coinbase Developer Platform is a set of APIs and SDKs that empower you to build anything on-chain. And so the vision that we're working backwards from is 1 million on-chain builders. And I always like to ground things in that because, number one, that's a super ambitious goal, and I think it's really important to have that audacious thing that you're working backwards from. And then number two, that actually influences how we design and develop our builder tools. Because there's only like less than 50,000 builders on chain today. So to get to 1 million, we have to build a suite of developer tools that have all the power and low-level primitives that the existing on-chain builders expect and demand. But we can't stop there. We also have to make it intuitive and dead simple for Web 2 developers that are transitioning to building on-chain, and also folks that are aspiring developers or may not even think of themselves as developers but want to get started building on-chain. So wherever you're at in that journey, we want to make it simple for you to build on-chain. We also want to make it simple for your users to get on-chain and to use the apps that you build. So you'll see that in several of the products that we have, and I'll give a few examples. The first one is Coinbase Smart Wallet, where your users can seamlessly get started with your on-chain app, and they don't have to think about setting up a wallet, understanding what that is, dealing with private keys, dealing with seed phrases. They can just use their email address or have biometrics that are tied to a passkey, and they don't have to think about what's going on under the hood on the crypto side of things. The second is Coinbase On-Ramp, where your users can really seamlessly on-ramp fiat funds into crypto. They can go through something like a guest checkout with Apple Pay, where they don't have to do a KYC process. They can just get crypto in their wallet really easily and get started using your app or using your agent. And then the third one I'll mention is CDP Paymaster, where as the app builder or the agent builder, you can sponsor gas for your users, so they don't have to worry about what is this gas thing, why do I have to go buy this other token to do the thing I'm trying to do. You can abstract away all that complexity. So we won't stop until we bring the whole world on chain. We want to bring those 1 million builders on chain so that you all can bring the world on chain. We're really excited by that vision, and I think you're all here because you're excited by it too. So I've talked about a couple of these capabilities already with OnRamp and Paymaster. I'll touch on our wallets really briefly. So our wallet API makes it really simple, one line of code, one API call to create a wallet on the back end that can power your app, power your agent, or maybe you're creating them on behalf of your users. So there's a few flavors of those. You can have a classic kind of single private key EOA, where there's one private key that you're securing in some way. Really easy, quick way to get started. If you have a higher security bar for whatever use case, we also have multi-party computation, where instead of a single private key, that private key is sharded into 2 key shares. You manage one of them, and Coinbase manages the other one, and there's a really fun mathematical interaction of those that's required to sign a transaction. And then 2 days ago, we launched a smart wallet API, where with an API call, you can create a smart wallet on the back end to power your app or power your agent and gain the advantages of those account abstraction features, like being able to use Paymaster, being able to use arbitrary ERC20 tokens for gas payments, batch transactions, and things like that. The other one here that I'll mention is Onchain Kit. So we have this powerful front-end library of React components that you can use to drop in things like enabling your users to connect to your app with their wallets, enabling them to earn with Morpho Vaults, and a variety of other things. Make a really beautiful user experience for them in minutes. This is a high-level overview of the CDP stack. So at the lower level, we've got networks. We support Base, Ethereum Layer 1, Arbitrum, and Polygon. See a lot of people building on Base for the secure, fast, cheap block space. We love that. There's an obvious kind of better together with Coinbase Developer Platform and Base. We also want to support builders wherever they're building. So we support those other networks. We're going to be adding more. At a level above the networks is our APIs. I've talked about several of those. And then a level above those is the Onchain Kit, and then our backend SDK that I mentioned that's available in TypeScript and Python that gives you those really convenient, dead simple, high-level abstractions. And then this is just kind of the last view of just another way to kind of slice and dice our products. We've got that payment stack for storing, converting, transferring, and earning value on-chain. All these on-chain tools around data, Paymaster, verifications you can look into, and then all those, the SDKs and frameworks. And that's a good transition to AgentKit, so I'll turn it over to Lincoln to talk through that.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh. Cool. So yeah, I'll be talking a little bit about on-chain AI agents. It's 3 buzzwords that separately get a lot of hype around them, and then when you squish them all together, it gets like exponentially buzzwordy. And there's a lot of noise going around. So really today I'll be sharing a little bit about how Coinbase Developer Platform is thinking about agents, the direction that we're taking things, and how generally we would encourage builders to build using AgentKit. So this is a map of the crypto AI agent landscape. It was last updated in like early January, and since then it's gotten exponentially bigger, and a lot of these projects are no longer relevant. This just highlights how quickly the space is moving and the fact that, you know, probably 10% of these projects are going to be winners long term, and another 10% that aren't even here right now are going to be the other winners. There's so much going on and so much to dig through, so I'm going to try to make it really simple for everyone to understand the space in a pretty straightforward manner. This is a typical hype cycle of what things look like in crypto, or just in tech generally. And if you go to the next slide, this is where I think agents are right now. It's getting a little bit frothy. Just over the past couple of days, I've seen so much hype and so much interest in AI agents, and I absolutely love that, but I also think we can kind of forget what we can build right now with our existing tools, and we get caught in this crypto trap of always trying to build out the infrastructure for the next 3 to 5 years and never really building anything practical. So I'm going to go into a little bit of the things that I think are really low-hanging fruits that could be billion-dollar ideas that nobody's really thinking about right now, because we're starting to see this hype start to dampen and discourage people from building stuff today. This is another great graph that I like to show, which I wish it went back a little bit further than December, because like November timeline, it would be 0 on both of these. But it shows the general market cap of individual agent tokens and the amount of agents that are being created. And if you go to the next slide, you'll see here that this is kind of where I think things are going. We're going to have a massive increase in the number of agents that are created. And the market cap for these individual agent tokens is going to go up, sure, with a little bit of speculation, but ultimately will trend towards 0. Spoiler alert, it's not because I think the whole agent space is doomed, but I think there's going to be value captured in different ways. And the whole goal of AgentKit, which we'll get into a little bit later, is we're trying to commoditize the ability for every single person to have access to an AI agent and bring a billion agents on-chain. So these are kind of the directions where I think agents are going from here. The first, like I mentioned, is going to be the commoditization of agent creation. Everyone's going to have an agent. It's going to do all sorts of stuff for them, not only in the crypto world, but also in the traditional services. It'll do stuff like order food, book hotels, all sorts of fun things for you, and it'll be kind of like a personal assistant that's constantly available for you. Value primarily is going to stem from the proprietary data and services that you can offer to agents. So I think a great example of this is AI XBT. It's, as far as I'm aware, still the largest individual agent token. And the reason that is because it has access to all of this data and years of training and fine-tuning to make it pretty decent at making crypto insights. Similarly, I think there's a lot of interesting services that you can provide specifically to agents that are in a moat that would otherwise be inaccessible. One example would be Byte. They're a food delivery agentic service. He's right there in the front row, who derive value because they're able to do something that agents typically can't do, which is order food. Another thing that I think will be happening is that we'll start to get some of these big tech companies join in on the fun of agents. Right now, it seems like a pretty crypto-dominated space, but all of these big tech companies, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, OpenAI, are all building agents and agent frameworks. And I think we're going to see a massive shift in the way that the crypto space thinks about agents once these big boys come in and join the fun. I think what this will practically look like is while these crypto frameworks that are building out agents are going to still be valuable and around, a lot of people are also going to look at these new agents and mesh them together with existing Web 2 services. Lastly, I think on-chain interaction is going to be critical for this new wave of agents, and I'll get into exactly why here in a second. But before I do that, I want to talk a little bit about what AgentKit is and the role it plays in this stack. So as I mentioned, AgentKit is a way for you to give every AI agent, whether it's built with ELIZA, Game by Virtuals, LangChain, whatever, access to a crypto wallet and a comprehensive set of on-chain interactions. This is on every network. This is with every protocol. You can do all sorts of stuff like deploy smart contracts. Anything you can imagine, you can give your agent access to in like 4 lines of code. Our goal is to make it as simple as possible for every one of these agents to have an AI wallet because we think it's critical for them to ultimately have this as a payment rail. The reason for that is because it's impossible for AI agents to get access to a bank account. Though you could give it your information for your personal account, you have to trust it to not overspend. You have to deal with all of the complexities and problems with legacy banking systems, like the time it takes to transfer. None of this is built for the new world where we have internet native money and we need to move things around the world extremely quickly and without some of the concerns we have about the traditional financial system and its inability to do cross-border transactions efficiently. Crypto provides these rails in an internet native way that is very easy for agents to have. You can spin up a wallet for your agent with a single line of code, fund it with money, and then it can do anything it wants. It can send money to anyone, anywhere in the world for pretty much fee-free. It can also start earning on DeFi protocols. And if you want to plug it into the traditional banking system and give it a debit card, that's great. It can top it up with stablecoins as an intermediary step before, as we believe, the entire world will come on chain and all of these businesses will start to take crypto directly. So why specifically the Coinbase developer platform AgentKit? Why do we think this is the way that things are starting to trend? The first is because it enables new business models. For all of these crypto protocols that right now have to require users to go to their website, sign in with a wallet, know how to use their tech stack, click on buttons, all of that is way too complex to get a billion users to come on chain. Instead, wouldn't it be awesome if you could just tell your agent in natural language something like earn me money or swap? Super basic verbs that ultimately allow you to have a completely new interaction paradigm with these protocols. For the protocols, it opens them up to a completely new group of users who otherwise would not be able to interact with their specific protocols. Also, AgentKit is great for driving framework adoption and growth. We have, I think, something like 20,000 agents deployed right now. We've got over 2,000 builders who have already tried us out. The growth of AgentKit is amazing, and it's in its early state. It's better than ever to start getting involved and help create these standards and these commerce flows that AI agents are ultimately going to use as we move towards an agentic future. This is where I think AgentKit sits in that stack that I described earlier. It's not a framework itself. A common misconception is like it's a competitor with ELIZA. That is absolutely not the case. It is actually a default plugin within ELIZA, so you can very easily give all of your agents access to crypto wallets. Instead, it acts in this middle layer where you just plug and play with whatever you want. It's pretty compatible across the board, and we're always looking to take new contributions and collaborate with other players in the AI agent space. There are 2 main use cases that I think are primarily valuable. The first is this sort of human-in-the-loop, ChatGPT-style interface where you talk to an agent and it does something for you on your behalf. And then there's the much more fun example, which I think is a little bit further away, but we're getting to it, of fully autonomous agents that do things entirely on their own. The example I like to use here is the idea of a self-driving car that has like an AI brain and access to crypto rails. And basically, it could run some sort of taxi service and pay for its own operation and maintenance and just like exist as a thing in the world that's out there. So given this is a build-a-thon, and I'm sure a lot of you are building, and the ones who aren't, this is still good to understand signal around where to invest. I think there's 4 main areas that I'd love to see come out of this week. The first is pushing the envelope on autonomy. Right now, we've seen a bunch of agents that are either just like a front-end wrapper or adding a few new actions for the existing AgentKit, but I think people aren't pushing the bounds of what's possible using the tech today just yet. For example, Truth Terminal, which really catalyzed this whole AI crypto narrative, came out with technology that was like 6 to 12 months old. Nothing about it was particularly novel, except it squished new things together in a way that nobody's thought of before. I absolutely think that's possible today in so many different ways, but nobody's really taking advantage of that. The second thing I want to see is people plugging into more Web 2 tools. So starting to imagine not just crypto agents, but what happens when you give a traditional AI agent access to crypto as a payment rail. Lastly is agentic commerce. So the idea of agents starting to be your personal shopping assistant and do everything for you feels like an inevitable future, and one that we can start working towards today with the existing set of tools out there. And here are a couple of examples just to get you excited and inspired about what's going on. The first is this agentic food delivery that I mentioned. The next one is agents that have access to decentralized compute. So you can imagine creating like a self-replicating agent or something along those lines. And then the last one is robot dogs. So I think there's a lot of interesting capabilities when you start to mesh with embedded robotics and AI. We're going to have a couple of these robot dogs around the CDP booth at the actual ETHDenver conference. So I highly encourage you to come check them out. I've been playing with them at home for the past couple of days, and it's a ton of fun. So definitely stop by for that. So looking ahead a little bit and just trying to see where this space is going in a non sort of super hype manner. Agents, I believe, are going to be the primary actors on chain just because they make it incredibly easy to get started. And as robotics evolves, AI is going to start becoming physical, and we'll see these AIs start to move from just something that lives in your computer to something that is far more prevalent in your day-to-day life. We've seen this with these types of robots that are coming out. They're going to need a payment rail as well, and crypto makes a lot of sense for that. Agents today primarily also are using very centralized service providers. So think like a traditional AWS server, OpenAI APIs. While that's absolutely fine for today's use cases, I think as these agents start to push the boundaries a little bit more, we're going to see a little bit of controversy around these centralized services and their ability to properly service these agents that exist. Practically what this will look like, I think, is very similar to the current L2 roadmap, where we started out very centralized, and that allowed us to see massive performance improvements across the board and solve some of these scalability problems. And then we progressively decentralize as necessary to preserve the benefits that we've seen so far. The same exact thing happened with agents. Lastly, I think multi-agent swarms are going to become more and more commonplace. This isn't really a hot take, but typically the way to think about agents is that they can do a lot of things, but they're going to have some sort of way for your personal agent to plug into the Expedia agent or for it to go off and do something else random in the world. And for that reason, you're going to have some sort of communication or sort of discovery service where your agent can go off and find other agents. So these are 2 links that tell you how to get started. Our Discord is great if you want to talk directly to our engineers and get white glove support as you're working through all of your agent builds. Our documentation as well has a 5-minute quick start. I know it's probably intimidating to even think about building an agent, but I promise you, just try it out. I don't consider myself a terribly technical person, and I have a bias towards making it as easy as possible for anyone to get started. So it's like literally 5 minutes. You don't have to write a single line of code. It's just copying and pasting the API keys that you need. We have lots of different AI-assisted builder tools to make it possible for anyone to build on chain and really change the definition of a builder from somebody who has to know how to code and has a little bit of idea of programming languages to somebody who can just express an idea in natural language and watch this come to life. So if you have any questions, we're going to be at a booth right across the stage over here. Happy to talk to you, jam through anything related to agents, other CDP products, how you can mix things together and make something super cool. And yeah, happy to take any questions. Thank you and happy building.